You divide storytelling up into character development, comedy, world building, action. I mean, you can define it different ways. Like for instance, exposition can be considered world building. It could be considered character development. It could even set up action. So like we can really spend a long time talking about, which I'm not going to do. But basically, you're either serving the characters. Who are the characters? What do they want? Where do they want to go? Where have they been? Okay, or the world building. What is the world? What's the situation? Who's in charge of who? How does the economy function, etc.? How does the hustle bustle of the city function? All that stuff. Or you're serving just pure entertainment, and entertainment can be comedy, one-liners, funny situations, hardy har har, or action can be entertainment, or sometimes like an adventure, like an exploration. What's around the next corner? What's in this cave? What's under this lake? Ooh, this is exciting things we've never seen before. The island up in the sky, we've never seen this before. That all those things serve as entertainment. Now it's all entertainment. Like I said, we can really go down a rabbit hole, go up our own ass if we want to. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just saying you're trying to service. Basically, imagine there's buckets on the table. Okay, you got to service all the buckets. One of the buckets is world building. What is this world? What's the scenario? How does it function on a day-to-day basis? What do we need to know to understand what the characters want to do and how they want to do it? So you have the world building bucket. Then you have the character development bucket. As many characters as you want to do. Then you have the entertainment bucket, which these other two things service. And it could be the most important. If you're not having a good time, it doesn't matter how interesting the characters are, and it doesn't matter what the world is. So you're servicing the three buckets, and it's all important. Some shows will be 60, 70%. Some shows will be like 70% in one of these buckets. And then 15% for the other two buckets. For instance, James Bond is probably 70% entertainment, action, comedy. 15% world building. What's the government situation between two governments? Why is it, somebody, rich person, or why does some government want to blow up the world? And then the other 15% could be who are these characters? Like we don't really care who James Bond is. We don't care who Miss Good Pussy is. We don't care who the bad guys are. His eye leaks blood. Okay. He has a bullet that's slowly going into his brain and he'll eventually kill him. Okay, whatever. I mean, he's in a wheelchair and he has a cat. Like, who cares? Like, James Bond it may only be 5% characterization. Like, literally, James Bond movie may only care about 5% of the time is devoted to the characters. I used to work at the CIA. Now I'm a millionaire. That's it. That's all my characterization. We don't know if I was an only child. We don't know if mom used to beat me. We don't know if a dog bit me in the leg. We don't care. We don't know any of that stuff. The world building, well, it's the same world as ours. These two countries hate each other. Poof, you're done. So it may literally be James Bond. 5%, 90%. Entertainment. Comedy, action. That's it. So that's the priority of James Bond. And nobody has a problem with it. The James Bond movies are very popular. It's all in what you want to do. So this show seems most concerned with characterization. Like, it seems primarily concerned with characterization. I would say it's 80% characterization. 5% world building. We don't know what country are we in, how many other countries are there, what's the governmental situation, what's the ruling class like. We know very little about the world building. Some episodes will be more than 5% world building. Like the first episode or two probably was 20% world building. I maybe even talked about this earlier. Things kind of run together for me. So I'm just talking about broad strokes here. Typically, though, I think this show cares the most about characterization. It spends most of its time with characterization. It'll do the action. It definitely will do the comedy. But I would say probably 70-75% of the time is devoted to characterization. What's going to be interesting about that is sooner or later you reach a point where you have saturated us with the protagonist's character development. Who is he? What does he want? Where is he going? And you can show progress every episode, but you don't need to, it's like knowing a friend. The difference between knowing a friend for a week and knowing a friend for a year. After a year, you know everything about their childhood, everything about their jobs before they met you, and everything about their relationships before they met you. After a week, you don't. There's plenty to talk about. There's always something to talk about with the past. After a year or two, there's nothing left to say about the past. You can talk about the present. Here's what happened today with my current girlfriend. Here's what happened today in my current job. But you don't have to say, here's what happened when I was 21. at that job with that girlfriend. You reach a saturation point. So then what happens, it shows that still care this much about character development will start developing everybody in the vicinity. You'll see that. Like, it also depends how long the show runs, right? Some shows, once they've fully, completely developed the protagonist, the show's over because that's all that they're concerned with. That's all they care about. And you have the action, you have the world building, you have the entertainment factor going all the way through. But at the end of the day, they care about the protagonist, and that's it. This show seems to care about a lot of characters, and they spend a lot of time on a lot of characters, even a little bit with the villains, just a little bit, just a little bit. But we're getting some of that. For instance, we know water clone guy, whatever that his name is, isn't particularly enamored with Gato, and Gato doesn't particularly like him that much. And water clone guy really don't care. He's gonna do what he's gonna do because that's what he wants to do. So like we're even getting some of that. So like that's one of the reasons I like this show so much, and I think that's the reason why it's so popular, is because it's about the characters. Lost was about the characters. That's why Lost still has a subreddit that has dozens of posts a day, hundreds of comments, thousands of comments maybe on those posts every single day, 13 years after it went off the air. Flash forward, I doubt there even is a flash forward subreddit. What's a show that went a couple seasons? Heroes probably doesn't even have a subreddit, although they had pretty interesting characters. That's probably not a good example. But there are shows that ran 2 or 3 seasons that probably don't even have a very active, if active at all, subreddit. Because what they didn't focus on the characters, they focused on the world building, the action, the other stuff. Characters got a little bit of attraction, but it was more about the mythology, it was about the mysteries, it was about the action. And that stuff wears off in a year or two. People don't care anymore. But if you're attached to the characters, you care for your entire life. They stay with you. That seems to be a priority for this show. All right, you know where we are. You know where we're going. 3, 2, 1. Well, hello? Tell you what, I know I keep bringing it up, but that never gets old. That is cocking a gun. Basically, that's what that is. It's cool, man, because I've noticed it on 2 different series now, right? So it's clearly a trope. It's a thing. And I really like it. And I just need to get this damn sound right. Suddenly it's too loud. I screen record these ahead of time, right? So sometimes they get recorded at different volumes. The brats. You people are insane. Everything's brats. I'm about to tear your water clothes up. Watch this. That would happen to me a lot back when I was fighting as a teenager. My legs would shake a lot. Then you get in the middle of it and it's fine, right? But like the pre-fight anticipation, a lot of people even notice my legs shake because it'd be very violently shaking right there. Oh, you're scared, huh? And it wasn't fear; it must have been adrenaline. But they would think I was scared, and sometimes they would go a little easy on me, right? Until we got into the middle of it. But that is a thing. And a lot of people will think it's fear, but I think a lot of times it's just adrenaline. That's right. Coming to the rescue. I have to say, I like his outfit. I wonder if it's inspired by Luke Skywalker. What what movie was that? Was it the second movie when he had the orange jumpsuit, or was it the end of the first one? I can't remember. But he's got the blonde hair, and he's got the outfit. Yeah. What's up? Oh crap! Really? Uh huh. I'll get with the brats. Yeah, I got this one. They're trying to piss him off. You want them to take the initiative. You want them to attack first, right? It's much better to play defense than it is offense in this kind of scenario. Want them to do something hot headed. Oh yeah, here we go. It's like a tempest, right? What's coming? Man, I'd be so dizzy if that's even the real person, right? Because who the hell knows? This is the other part of the attack, right? Yeah. Nope. Sorry, I'm just a maid. I was cleaning up around here. Nice touch of having him where he has to stand up on tippy toes to reach the sink. You didn't have to animate it that way. You could have animated it any way you wanted to, right? They did that intentionally to show how small he is. Oh crap! They've used the word brat. Man, if I took a drink every time they use the word brat, I'd be dead. And I can hold my liquor. Oh crap! Yo, his depth perception is garbage with the one eye. But you don't really need that perception when you're in this close. Like, in other words, when you're using a sword. What's up? That's right. And she means it too, bitch. Right. Dead hostage is no good to you. That's right. You better shoot that shit. You one eyed bitch. That's a hell of a way to go, by the way. Biting your tongue off, choke to death on your own tongue. I ain't seen it happen. You hear about it of you hear about it, like in movies and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's happened in real life somewhere. That's a hell of a way to go. He can be the witness of what happened. See, that's another reason why they animate him where he can't even like stand flat footed and wash his hands. They want to emphasize how small and how ridiculous what he's saying is here, right? Like how tiny he is. There's nothing he can do, but he still feels this way. That's all very intentional. Whoever the director was is clever, unless it came from the original manga, which it probably did. That's right. Take this shit to heart. You gonna cry or you gonna do something about it. Like follow them, find out where they are, like specifically where they are. A little person, that's a perfect job for you. Follow them along, sneak around. Apparently, they don't have a car; they're gonna walk, so you can follow them, or you can sit here and sitting on the floor crying. What's it gonna be? If you know exactly where they are, you can go back and report to the people who can rescue her. I spent a lot of screen time as a kid. That's what I was talking about with character development. That's their focus. Does this feel like plot to you? Does it feel like world building? No, it's character development. Like they're spending all this time on. He may become a major character in this series. I don't know, but at this point, he's just a secondary, minor character. Oh Jesus! I don't need to hear about your kink. Really? This is foolish, man. Follow them and find out where they're going. Like I don't know what he thinks he can accomplish here. They might both end up dead. If he forces them to kill him, then she'll kill herself. So yeah, yeah. See, you can't make the threat twice, right? Well, yeah. So now they can. They're free to kill her now that she's knocked out. I don't know how you're gonna keep her when she wakes up. That's very interesting. Like, of course he's an idiot. You know, he's not a clever kid though. Like it's all about his ego, right? He has to be the one to do it. Been like I said, follow them, find out where they are, go report to people who can rescue her. That'd be doing a hell of a job, right? That'd be very clever, but he doesn't have that in him. Not gonna happen. I mean, the speed seems to be a major issue, man. Yeah, preemptive. See, so much of the fighting here on this show is mental. Like this here, this conversation is a mental fight, right? I would just shut everything out. It doesn't matter what you're saying; it's irrelevant, right? You don't let them in your head, but like this dude's letting the mist in his head, right? Which is interesting because you'll miss kind of it kind of permeates the area, right? It just sneaks up on you. You don't realize how strong it is until it's you're surrounded by it and you can't see. Good metaphor for this character because that seems to be the way the character fights too. That's right. The training's coming into play. The whole wax on, wax off thing, right? Like you realize how important it can be. Yep, you killed him, didn't you? He'd rather die than help his mom. The hell? What the actual? Holy crap! This is where he went. Why did I like? I got lost in the sauce. Holy crap! I thought he was going to rescue the others, man. Even though it worked out, look, I'll have a lot to say about this later. Just because something works out doesn't mean it's the right choice. That's outcome based affirmation. That means nothing. If you run across the street with your eyes closed, you don't get killed by a car. That doesn't mean it was the right decision. Brilliant, man. Brilliant. And they even mentioned earlier he was like, messing around with the sword. See, now this is I wouldn't call it a fair fight, but at least it's a substantial fight. Like, I mean, the kid's a moron, but wow, what a great moment! I was completely not expecting this. Like, it was pretty awesome. That's right, kick their asses. That's my favorite swerve in the entire series so far. This was an incredible bait and switch. I thought he was dead, man, and I blamed him. Like I don't like blaming the victim, but it would be 100% his fault. But here, what's so beautiful about this is it was totally set up. The kid don't believe in heroes, and now, shut up. And now, like you have, like he's demonstrated there are heroes in the world. So the kid has got his like I'm actually getting emotional. The kid has elevated his emotional journey in that moment. So it's way more than just the action we saw, right? Like it was about his emotional journey. He can now believe in heroes again. And maybe the reason he was being so foolish is like he didn't believe in heroes, so like he was the only person following them and going and reporting that would only work if you believe that heroes exist and that they will help you, right? So he didn't believe that. That's why he didn't do it. Like I just realized, it wasn't as stupid as I thought. It was because he didn't care. He was full of despair. He didn't believe there was any point to finding somebody because there are no heroes. That actually makes total sense for his character. He's not as stupid as I thought. Yeah, that's like not good. You don't necessarily have to be faster if you can anticipate, which I think is what happened here. Yeah, the whole Brad thing's being overplayed, man. You need to relax. That's right. Look at him kicking in this music. Yeah, it does serve you right, doesn't it? Stop listening to your intrusive thoughts. That shit got me emotional as hell, man. I just love that so much. What a great moment. Meanwhile, they're all tied up. Yeah. No, man. No, you were on point, dude. You were on point. The message was delivered, and he took it to heart. He made a foolish decision, but like it actually worked. Like, don't take it back now. Don't walk it back. Yeah, so now you're gonna be a crybaby when I said you weren't one. Thanks for proving me wrong. Yeah, I got a little water in my eyes right now, kid. It's all right. Well, yeah, because you are. For me, crybaby is not somebody who cries. It's somebody who will cry at the expense of anything else, right? He's already shown he's a kid of action, so he's not a crybaby. But people just there's things you could do to make your life better, but all you do is sit on the floor and cry. That's a crybaby, which is what he was doing yesterday, right? So he needed to hear that. That's right, because I'm a hero. I cannot believe they got me like that. Like, it completely took me by surprise. And you accomplish so much with that. Like I said, the emotional journey of the kid. They put so much time in. This is why you care about a show like this, right? Because it's the character, it's not the action. The action's cool. It's fine. The comedy's cool. It's fine. You know, the emotion, the characterization is what brings you back and makes the show not leave your head when you're not watching it. You know, I watch a lot of shit. Not all of it stays with me. If they're just screwing around and we're having a good time, okay, great, we're having a good time. But like the characters will stay with you unless they put in the time. They put in the work. This show puts in the time and work. Well, this can't be good. See, you gotta find some way to disrupt it. That took what 30 seconds to create that. You couldn't have done anything in 30 seconds to distract that person. Couldn't throw something at them, rush them. No, you let them complete the magic. Like, why would you stand there and watch that happen? Do something. Maybe it's happening faster because with TV time, movie time can be faster. Something that actually takes 2 seconds, but because of slow motion, it looks like it takes 10 seconds. That can confuse the audience a lot of times. But what you do is you'll show something in the background like a bird in slow motion to make sure it's very clear that time is not proceeding as fast as it normally does. This is unclear how long this actually took. Yeah, don't be a dumbass. Yeah, this is between us. Yeah, this is between them. Yeah, but you had to build all this, fortress of solitude first, didn't you? This is a dangerous position to be in, though. If you can come from all angles, man. Yeah, that's not good. So, are you ever going to do anything? Like, all she does is stand around and react. What is she, a reaction channel? She has no fighting skills. I don't understand, like, what her purpose is. She wasn't trained on a tree like the other two. Like, what is her role? Like, Jesus. This is when you really need Naruto, right? He's going to come rolling in. Now he'll be the cavalry here. So you finally going to get off your ass and do something. Excellent. Look, I'm just waiting for, like, I don't dislike the character. I'm just waiting for her to do something. Again, you got to, of course, you got to jump up in the air, right? So, oh, well, thanks for that. I'll use that against him. Well, at least I slowed down the attack, right? You can't do both at once. See what this? Well, crap. I assume that's Naruto, right? Yeah. If he has two cavalry moments in one episode, that's pretty awesome. Or is it somebody else? Feels like somebody more powerful. Yeah. Or maybe it's just him showing off, right? It's hard to tell. Hyperactive is a good word, by the way. My godson is hyperactive, and he's about this age. He's 15, right? So there's a lot of him in this character. So it was him showing off. Gotcha. Pretty awesome. What's up? That might be my favorite episode. I feel I'm going to be saying that a lot, right? But that was really good. They swerved me. They got me emotional. The emotional payoff of the kid, and I don't know if I would have felt emotional about it if I hadn't thought how incredibly stupid what he did was, and it was stupid. Like I said, I've already made this point. I'm going to make it again. Just because something works out doesn't mean it's the right choice. Yeah, you do the whole knife thing like this, and where you have your hand on the table and you're putting the knife in between your fingers. Okay, so you don't cut a finger off. That don't mean it's smart. It's not the right thing to do. Like because something worked out. If it was foolish and the odds were low that it would have worked out. It's just not the like. And sometimes we do have to roll the hard six, right? We have to take a chance, especially in these kind of things. You have to take a chance, right? I get that. But this was foolish. But I wasn't thinking about it in the moment. And I came to realization later the reason he didn't follow them, find out the information, and go tell somebody is he didn't believe anybody would help. Like he didn't believe in heroes. Like they had set that up. They put into work to answer that question. I wasn't thinking about that in the moment. I didn't realize that till later. They call that fridge brilliance, right? Like you finish watching a show, you go over, you open the fridge door, you're trying to, what am I going to eat? And then a thought occurs to you. Wait a minute. The reason he didn't go get help is he doesn't believe in heroes, right? That it's a realization that hits you later. They call that fridge brilliance, which means you have the good writing baked into the story, but sometimes it doesn't sink in right away because there's so much happening. But then when you think about it, your brain is still working on it. It's like, wait a minute, that's what it was. But in the moment, all I can think about is he's a dumbass. It's stupid. It's foolish. So I had written him off. Like I had been like, okay, well, if he's gonna be an idiot, I'm not gonna mourn him. Like he's gonna die, and he deserves it because he's being a moron, right? I had written him off, and that's what made it so emotional to me. Was I had already written him off in my brain. I thought, okay, they're gonna kill him, and this is gonna be some kind of, ooh, what a dark episode, right? That kind of thing. And they spent a lot of time on him, so they wanted us to bond with him so he could die. It was all lined up. I felt like that's what they were gonna do. And then all of a sudden he's a log, and we know he don't have powers. And even after we saw the log, I still didn't think it was Naruto. I was so convinced he was going the other way. Just brilliant writing, absolutely brilliant writing. But I wanted to put a thought that I had early in the episode where I said he looks like Luke Skywalker. Here's the way this works. You watch something in 1983. Okay, this came out what 2000, 2001. So maybe you're 10 years old in 1983. Maybe you're if it's for the time to work out, maybe you're like 50. Say you're 15, 1983, you watch this. Or it could have been 1980 when he had this outfit. We'll just call it 83. So you're 15 years old in 83, and you watch this, and it's really cool. Now, you watch a lot of other things, too. But you've seen Star Wars, you've seen Luke Skywalker in his orange jumpsuit, is blonde hair, and he's the chosen one. So there's a lot of similarities, right? So you watch this, and you watch a bunch of other crap. 10, 15 years later, it's time for you to create a character for your new story. You've got the story laid out. And I don't know how this is for everybody else, but for me, the idea of a character is in your head, okay? And it's like this blob. Like imagine like a loose blob. That's the character. They don't have a look. They don't have an age. They don't have a backstory. It's just a blob. Okay, so Blob just lost his mother. And then he has to go to school, and nobody can know he lost his mother because like she was a secret agent or something. Nobody can know she's dead. Yeah, so you have to pretend she's alive. So that's the character. I just pulled this out of my ass, but like say that's the story premise I just came up with. The character is undefined. He's just a blob in my head. So now it's like okay, now like somebody wants to pay me to do this story. I have to okay. Now I'm gonna sit down and write it out. Okay, these are all the plot details. Then you fill in the backstory. Okay, this is his backstory up to this point. This is why it has to be this way. And typically in writing, you come up with the premise first, then you figure out why. So maybe the premise is you're only allowed to have happy thoughts. You don't know why, but like oh, that's a cool premise. I've never seen a story where you're only allowed to have happy thoughts. Like if you have sad thoughts, you die. Oh, that's an interesting premise. Then you figure out why. So you typically with stories, you come up with the premise first, then you got to figure out the story reason, the backstory reason why the premise exists. Well, there's aliens, they've invaded Earth, they've conquered humans, and they don't like unhappy thoughts because they're telepathic aliens. You make them feel bad. If you make them feel bad, they kill you. So you come up with the backstory for why this premise exists. It's backwards. When the story is presented to the audience, typically the backstory is given first. First, you would show the invasion. You show that the aliens have taken over the world, and then you show that like they don't like unhappy thoughts. If you have unhappy thoughts, you die, right? So the story is presented to the audience in reverse to when how the story is created. The story typically is created premise first. Now I said it can be different for other writers, but typically it's premise first. Then you fill in backstory. Well, all this happened in your head, and then you're like, okay, well I got to create this character now. What does he look like? And so your mind is on the premise. Your mind is on the backstory. Your mind is on where's the story going to go. What the character looks like typically doesn't matter. It's like he can look like anything. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, he's 15, so let's make him 5'4". I haven't done a blonde character yet, so let's make him blonde. And like he likes jeans and t-shirts. No, jeans and t-shirts have done a lot. Let me change that to he wears jorts or something, and he's got a wife beater on. And you always see wife beaters be white, so let's make it a blue wife beater. This is the process. To me, anyway, I rarely give a shit what the character looks like. I pull from anywhere. So, but here's the thing. You're sitting here, and your character is the chosen one, and he's young, and he's aggressive, and he's a little naive, and he's a little over enthusiastic, like they say, hyperactive. So, okay, then your mind is like, what reminds you of that? Of what I just described, what reminds you of that? And then your mind goes to the back of your head and is fumbling through the cardboard boxes of your memory, and it pulls out Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker is a chosen one. He's young, he's naive, he has see, your character is just emotions and motivations that start. It's just a blob. It's a blob. It doesn't look like anything. All it is emotions and motivations. And so your character is his mom died. He's young. He's naive. He's the chosen one, and he's overly aggressive and hyperactive. Okay, that's all he is. He doesn't look like anything. He's just a blob. But then your mind will go find something that looks like that reminds you of what I just described, which is Luke Skywalker. So it'll go pull out, it'll say blonde hair. And you're like, blonde hair, that feels right. Okay, so you write down blonde hair. And then you already know because of his age, his face will look a certain way. And then what should he wear? What should his outfit be? And your mind is still thinking about Luke Skywalker, so it pulls out orange. You're like, orange, yeah, an orange jumpsuit. That sounds really good. That fits my impression. And so you put in orange jumpsuit. So you're not sitting here consciously like, I'm going to rip off Luke Skywalker. You're not doing like it. There's so much. You watch so many shows, you watch so many movies. Your brain is going back there and is pulling something out of a cardboard box from 15 years ago. It's not a conscious ripoff. It's not plagiarism. It's inspiration. and you don't know where inspiration comes from. As a writer, you don't typically want to know where inspiration comes from. That's how you get writer's block when you start trying to figure out how the sausage is made. That's how this happens. Now, I have no idea. Like, maybe the studio, or like when he was writing the original manga, the publisher was like, no, make it an orange jumpsuit. I could be completely full of shit. I'm just saying how this can happen. Because nobody's sitting down, hey, I'm going to make him look like Luke Skywalker. But sometimes, through what I've spent all this time describing, it'll happen. You'll pull it out because you watched something a long time ago. If you watched it last night, it wouldn't happen. But if you watched it a long time ago, your brain will just go pull out something. I have literally pulled out lines of dialogue. Like, I'll watch a show in 1984, and then I'll write a story in 1993. And then in 1995, I'll be watching that show last watched in 1983, and it'll be the same effing line of dialogue. I'll be like, holy crap, that's where I got it from. I didn't know I got it from the show. It had been 10 years since I'd seen it. And it'll be the exact same line of dialogue, word for word. Like, clearly that's where it came from. I have no idea. This is how a lot of times, authors can get accused of plagiarism. Now, if we're talking about an entire page or an entire scene, that's plagiarism. But if we're talking about a line of dialogue, something that's reminiscent, a scene, a character design, it's inspiration. There's all this crap swirling around the backs of our heads, and we'll go pull something out and bring it out. So that's how the sausage is made when it comes to character creation. There's a lot of other ways it can happen, and this could have happened completely different. Who knows? It could have even been conscious for all I know. But like, that's how it can happen unconsciously.